Hi and welcome to the Beer Temple once again. I am Chris Quinn and today I have, I gotta get my product placement there a little better. I am excited to have a beer from Tired Hands Brewing out in Ardmore, Pennsylvania. My old stomping grounds. I grew up actually in Havertown, the next neighborhood over, and Tired Hands actually opened after I was in Chicago for quite some time. Of course, I leave, and then a great brewery moves in right around the corner from me. I have visited the place one time, met with the head brewer and one of the principals, Gene. There's Gene, John, and Jean, I think. I think. I might be over exaggerating the amount of John and Gene variants, but I think it was Gene that I met, and really great guys over there, very prolific. They've got a tiny little brew pub, and they're putting out some really interesting beers, a lot of one-offs, a lot of experimentational brews, and they actually were listed in the same breath as Pipeworks, who I talked about in previous episodes about how they were named the best new brewery for 2012. Tired Hands actually was the runner-up for best new brewery in 2012, so that's really great. And as it just so happens, they are going to be doing a collaboration beer. They're going to be doing a lime IPA. So Tired Hands and Pipeworks are kind of uniting the two young guns on the beer scene, craft beer scene. So yeah, I'm certainly excited to be trying this beer. Thanks so much to Bill, who has sent me beer in the past and sent this out to me. Thank you so much, Bill. I really appreciate it, and so will everyone else at the store today who gets to try this beer. Hopefully. Let's see if it's any good. This beer, filled up all the way to the top. No hiss when it opens. We'll see what that means. This growler is maybe a week old. It was shipped, so we'll see. This is Tralfamadorian. This is a really interesting beer. It is a beer, it's a Bière de Garde, which is a French-style farmhouse ale, similar to Saison, and it tends to be a little bit darker, a little bit more malt forward, a little bit more musty and earthy, rather than kind of citrusy and farmhousey than a Saison, but they are related, and it also tends to be a beer that is meant to be kept traditionally, you know, beers that can be set down. Nowadays, you really don't age Bière de Gardes too often. I think they're seen as just a nice country ale. I often look for like a certain amount of mustiness in a Bière de Garde. I'm curious about this one. It was actually barrel fermented, so not barrel conditioned, but barrel fermented. Something that's not really happening too much in brewing anymore. Ooh, it pours viscous, and it pours fairly still. Not entirely still, but fairly still. So barrel fermented. Meaning where you would normally do your normal brew and then transfer to like a stainless steel tank for primary fermentation. When the majority of the fermentation is gone, you could then transfer into a barrel to let it condition for a couple months to a couple years. In this case, it sounds like they are doing the active fermentation in the barrel. So certainly different. I have not had too many barrel fermented beers that I know of. Pardon me. Even a lot of the goose these days, a lot of the lambics, I should say, I think the primary fermentation in most of them occurs in stainless. That would be, I think, the main place that most people would have had barrel fermented beers. But you don't see a lot of it in the United States, I guess I should say. So anyway, let's try this beer here. We've got a nice amber color to it, fairly still. This is brewed with wild flower honey as well. I'm getting definitely a vinous note to it. I wonder if it came from wine barrels. A tart, acidic note to it. Really lovely. This smells really nice. Just a really nice, clean, tart, red wine, plum, kind of cherry note. It's interesting. Reminds me more of like an Oud Bruin, like a Belgian Oud Bruin. Although it is, oh, this is interesting. It is a little less sweet. It's a little drier than most Oud Bruins would be. It does have that kind of musty, mushroomy note to it as well. Just a hint though. Certainly earthiness, kind of like green leaves, like dandelion leaves have been thrown in here. That's kind of how it finishes, with a nice kind of mild acidic bite to it and a green, like vegetal in a good way, or not quite herbaceous, but more like dandelion leaves or arugula, something like that. Really nice. I like that flower, that floral note to it. This is a beer that I would want a full glass of to really kind of wrap my head around and see how it kind of changes as I kind of get down in the glass. It's well done. They're saying it's a Biere de Garde, and I will buy it. It's a fairly broad style. Interesting, drinkable, tastes low alcohol. I would guess it's under 6%. The bite definitely seems to be coming, I think it's from the wood, maybe from that tannin from the wood, rather than a whole bunch of hops. But I'm getting kind of like a woody, tannin-y note to it. Slightly harsh, just a slight harsh edge to that wood character. But it doesn't not work. It's really got a wonderful kind of, almost like a barreled caramel or like a sappy quality to it as well at the end. And that's kind of what you're left with, that kind of vegetal note and a sappy tannin. But rather than it being something off-putting, I see it as something that makes me kind of want to grab for some food to kind of pair with that. I really like this beer. I'm going to go 92 with this, with Tralfamadorian from Tired Hands. And I really am looking forward to trying more of their stuff. You know, highly, highly prolific. You know, anyone who in a year or two is putting out 50 beers, they're not all going to be winners. Or else, you know, you should be, whatever, you should be brewing for fill in the blank or expanding as fast as you can. It's just not possible. And I like that. I don't think everything you do has to be a full-blown, you know, star right off the bat and everyone loves. I think it's really cool. So this is Tralfamadorian, a really nice take on a Biere de Garde from Tired Hands in Ardmore, Pennsylvania. Thank you guys so much, as always, for watching. I always love to see the comments. Keep them coming in. Let me know what else you would like to see. And if you're in the neighborhood, hopefully you'll get to try this. But until next time, I've got some great beer to drink, and hopefully you do too.